Hi everyone, this is AG47 Liberty, and today I want to talk to you about foreign aid and war, how they're tied together. Yes, foreign aid sounds good, but here's a quote, which I think best describes what foreign aid actually is. It is taking the money from poor people in a rich country to give it to rich people in a poor country. And my point of view is this is probably the best thing that happens to the foreign aid, or the money stolen from us through taxes and given to people overseas for nothing more than being puppet dictators of these impoverished countries. And they keep their people impoverished just so they can get more aid. That is the most benign thing they do. Here's the worst part of foreign aid. And I think this is more prevalent in the reasons why they give foreign aid than anything else. The worst part, and probably the reality of foreign aid, is these people who receive the aid actually turn around and use that money not for the good of the people, not just to put in their own private bank accounts in Switzerland or wherever, but to buy weapons with. And the main person they buy their weapons from are U.S. manufacturers. So let's take a case in point, the Israeli and Palestinian conflict. This thing has been raging on since I was a kid back in the 70s. And it's been going on even before that. But you would think that in at least 40 years, something could have, both sides should have gone broke. So how are they able to maintain their bellicose ways towards one another and have not come up with some sort of peaceful solution? Well, the reason is the U.S. gives aid to both Israel and Palestine. Now, what do they do with those billions of dollars? They turn around and buy weapons from U.S. manufacturers. To me, that is nothing more than a backdoor welfare program for the U.S. defense industry. And in reality, all this foreign aid is a subsidy to the weapons manufacturer. That's all it is. It's a subsidy. It's a welfare program for these manufacturers. Think about it. Where do these impoverished people get modern weapons when they don't even have a pot to piss in? But yet these weapons are rampant. But they can't afford to feed themselves, supposedly. Both sides use the poor to justify taxing us, U.S. people. They are taking advantage of our good nature in order to keep the scam going. The people who are suffering is the average person in both countries, while the only ones profiting are the evil parasites sucking on the good, productive work of people, the average person who gets up in the morning and slaves away to make things to provide for their families. I would guarantee that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict would end very quickly if both sides were not given the resources to kill each other for free. See, the cost of carrying out these wars is cheaper than to stop them. They are now getting the weapons and everything given to them inadvertently, either by aid and then they go and buy them, or someone donates it to them, which costs them nothing to continue this conflict. But if the true costs were on the actors in the conflict, this Palestinian-Israeli conflict, as much as other conflicts around the world, would come to a screeching halt almost immediately. That's what I predict. Another indirect form of foreign aid, which no one really thinks about, I think except for maybe Ron Paul, is our U.S. troops and bases. in Germany and Japan and Korea and such places like that, where we are providing, we are mainly the main provider of their defenses. Think about what an advantage for a country. They don't have to put up at least 10% of their GDP in order to pay for their military, when someone else can come in and pay for it themselves. Back in the late 90s, the U.S. was sending Europe, particularly Germany, over $150 billion to maintain bases over there. That's why the Germans could get away with giving, and the other European countries could get away with offering their citizens free health care or subsidized health care, because the Americans were subsidizing it. Someone else was paying for it. It might have been free or cheap to them, but someone somewhere has to pay for it, and we were the gullible idiots who were paying for it, under the guise of, please let us have our troops there, and in return, we will give you money. It wasn't a German economic miracle. It was a German economic theft. It was a miracle theft from the U.S. taxpayer. And we don't even get a thank you. So, the next time someone says, oh, but we need to give foreign aid to all these poor countries, think about where it's going and who is actually helping. It's not for their benefit, for the average person's benefit. It's for just those who are connected and are getting easy money to support whatever lifestyle they have and to keep the wars going. Keeping the wars going is just another way of bilking the U.S. taxpayer out of more money, thinking if we throw enough money at a problem, it'll go away. And it won't. They'll keep the war going to get even more money. That's just the way it works. So remember, foreign aid doesn't work. It only perpetuates problems. It makes them greater because then they think they can get more money out of it. Thank you very much. I hope this helps you take another look at the actual use of foreign aid. And remember my motto: trust in God. Everyone else pays in silver. Thank you very much.